paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, yeah, it's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And
I
yes,
don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Brainstorm Brewery. We've got the full brew crew here tonight. Myself, Jason, Kat,
shit.
DJ. You heard Jason crack
I'll
that
take
beer.
that again.
And
Fuck.
Karma, nope, not a chance in hell are we taking that again. Look at that beer spill everywhere from
Oh,
amateur
man.
hour
No,
down
dude,
here
it's
in the
on my
corner.
Carpet. That's not funny.
Aww, Jason's carpet.
God damn it.
Poor
Never
carpet.
sounded more like a dad and you're wearing a tracksuit.
Ugh.
All right, well, while Jason tends to his carpet, welcome into the show, everyone. It's Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler. We're hanging out, talking magic today. We've got everyone in. Well, it's funny, I put there's 4 of us in the show notes, and now there's 3 of us while Jason tends to the emergency on the floor. But Cass has been up to quite a bit, and that's where we want to start because... Wow. I hope that came through the recording. Folks, we heard it through our ears. I hope you heard that. That's all. And then I hope, JJ, you cut that. The editor, I hope you earn your pay, which is, generously funded by Patreons at patreon.com/BSB. And you clip Jason yelling that, and you find something to do with it. Anyway, how was Tampa?
Dubstep remix would be my first priority there. A dubstep and or lo-fi remix of just Jason saying it's sticky.
He sounds like the dad in sounds like the dad in A Christmas Story right now.
So, I wasn't in Tampa for fear of hate crimes.
I can't have a
But
sticky
I-
mic and keyboard.
I'm gonna run at you like a
Podcast.
Logan gorilla, Jason.
So I'm gonna do some quick triage and then we'll retake that.
God, a
You can't hear me,
sticky-
but I'm gonna fully kill you.
There's not a chance in hell we're retaking any of this. This is the
No,
show.
this is all episode. We don't have time to
Welcome
retake.
in, Jason.
Oh,
Welcome
yeah.
back. I hope your sticky
Let's
mic
go.
and keyboard are
Why are
fixed.
you like this? I got sticky keys turned on.
Cass is telling
shift
us
again.
about
We're
Tampa.
gonna shift into a
I
different
can't.
topic.
I'm afraid if I hit shift, it won't pop back up.
Actually, I understand because my kid spilled a soda on my keyboard a couple months ago, and I cleaned it out repeatedly, but it was broken. Like, it was like a 30-year-old keyboard I had had since high school, and it was so, it didn't work. The shift key never worked the same. We couldn't play Overwatch. So I tell you what I did. I went on eBay, which, by the way, I contract for. Shout out to them, and that. And I bought the exact keyboard again. This old-ass Dell mechanical-ass keyboard. And it was the exact
That's
same
a
thing, and it
membrane
made me feel
keyboard.
better. Made me feel better.
That's not mechanical.
Yeah, I don't think Corbin knows what a mechanical keyboard is.
What do you mean?
This is a mechanical
It's when a keyboard is not magic, it's mechanics.
Y'all gotta get your keyboard aesthetics up, that's all I'm saying.
Do you want me to pop
Anyways.
the keys out and show you? It's a mechanical keyboard. What are you talking about?
I don't.
Hate crimes. I wasn't in Tampa for fear of hate
mechanical
crimes.
keyboard, you idiots.
That's a membrane keyboard. The switches press a membrane. They don't have individual actuators.
Go ahead, Cass. Actuators
So-
are a thing that exists only on the TV show with the kids who hit the actuators at the top of the mountain.
Speaking of hate
Guts?
crimes, I'm going to hate crime Corbin because I f***ing hate him.
Go ahead.
Why are you mad at Corbin? He's the one with an out, man.
Go ahead, Cass.
He's gonna leave. We're gonna continue recording the episode without him. Let him waste his own time. We're just burning like boring Corbin minutes off the clock, so we can have the real podcast after he leaves.
Corbin. I
No.
don't hate Corbin, but I also don't follow him on Twitter.
No, our
Want them to
viewers
say
hate
that.
our viewers hate Corbin. So speaking of Corbin, last week he tricked me into answering the question of a guy who didn't follow me on Twitter. So
Wow, that's brutal.
poor form.
Imagine people
Corbin.
not following you on Twitter, Jason. Couldn't be me.
I can imagine it. In fact, there are plenty of people like, I'm not following you on Twitter, and I'm like, why the not? And they're like, because you blocked me. And we're like, oh yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That's
Yeah.
a great reason.
I probably
So
blocked
hate
you because
crimes.
you weren't following me. I probably noticed that you weren't following me, and I was like, cool. That's a mistake.
Is there like a
and then-
specific thing where like me opening my mouth is your cue? Like, did I miss that stage direction?
Yes.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why.
cool.
That's why we're on Discord, so I can see your mouth open. Oh shit!
Speaking of hate crimes, yeah, I wasn't in Tampa because you could not pay me enough money to go there, but I was in Springfield, Virginia, playing one of the LCQs for the DMV Legacy League, a tournament series put on by local judge and Legacy Pit founder, I believe, Ryan Freeberger. I had played in 0 qualifying events this season, and I was like, I got a day, I want to be social, I'll go out and play some Legacy, and I picked a deck that was outside my normal wheelhouse. Normally I'm big on the green creature, green sun zenith, natural order decks, but I decided to play Sultai Up the Beanstalk, which is just a blue-black deck with Up the Beanstalk in it.
Checks out.
It was a grueling 5 rounds of Swiss plus a top 8 cut. Real big event. But I played against a couple cool brews. Legacy's really fun. I got to cast the card Murderous Cut to draw cards at one point. I got to play the card Orcish Bowmaster for the first time in a while, and boy, that card's good. And then in the top 8, I played one of the best games of Legacy I've ever played in my life. I was playing against Mono White Death and Taxes, which I lost to in the Swiss. That's my only loss in the tournament, was to Mono White Death and Taxes. Game 1, we play a super long game, and I never find a Force of Will, so when his Yorion comes down, it just gets him a ton of card advantage. Game 2, I Fatal Push his Mother of Runes, Orcish Bowmaster his Thalia, slam a Murktide Regent, counter his next 2 spells, and just completely kill him, put him in the dirt. That gave me the confidence to play Game 3. Game 3, I start pulling ahead with the Murktide, he Swords to Plowshares it, he uses 2 copies of Pre-War Formalware. If you're only a Magic Online Legacy player, you don't know that card exists, but that card is messed up. Pulls really far ahead with that, and I draw a Pernicious Deed and play it, but I can't crack it because he has an Aether Vial on 5, which means he can Vial in his Yorion to save all of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to my turn, I draw, I cast a Ponder, and I have to remember there's 1 copy of Consigned to Memory in my deck, post-board. And so I shuffle the Ponder because it's not there. I draw another Ponder. I cast the Ponder, I see the Consigned to Memory, draw it, leave 2 good cards on top of my deck, pass to my opponent's upkeep, crack Deed for 3, he Vials in Yorion, I stifle the trigger with Consigned to Memory. I don't go for the return trigger because if he had a Rashadan Porter or Wasteland, I lose. So I had to get the Yorion Exile trigger, destroy all of his stuff, untap, pay 3 mana for a Dismember, survive at 2 life with a Force of Will blue card and a Barrowgoyf in hand.
That's pretty good. I like the line.
Legacy is so good right now. Psychic Frog was the worst card in my deck all day, too. I want that to be on the record. It was the worst card, fully.
Well, I commentated the team trios for the NRG a few weeks ago. Watched some Legacy. Watched a lot of Frog across formats. And saw... I was someone a few weeks ago, a month ago, who was like, I don't know if I necessarily understand, just looking at Frog in a vacuum, what happens. And then talked to Cass about it, got good context, commentated the tournament, and watched it in action. And what surprised me was watching players win on the Psychotog version of the card, where you just dump all your cards to it, and you just go in on it, and you just pitch all your hand just to protect this, and you just play it like it's a Delver. And that was the line that you don't see very often. You expect, okay, sure, yeah, it's a great discard outlet, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that it just actually does everything in every deck showed it is super powerful. So pre-war Formalware, though, I don't... That card's illegal in Modern, right? Or no, because Fallout's not. Okay, just Legacy. That card is
not
absurd.
On Moto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having watched,
D&T?
Yes, we commentated lots of games of that, and watching, and I think it was new to the person I was commentating with. It was definitely new to the audience. I was able to find lines with that thing in real time. It was just wow, this is a entirely different angle to these decks that actually just turbocharges Stoneforge again.
The deck is
Which
actively
cool.
a pre-war Formalware deck now. I think that is what the card the deck is about. Additionally, if you're playing a deck like Sultai Beans that doesn't have a way to exile creatures, instead you're just destroying them, you're so far behind. I think that might have been my worst matchup in the room. And I lost to it once and I beat it once when it mattered. But I think
that card would be cool in
card,
Modern. It would be.
The fact that card's not on Moto, I think, is going to be a repeat of last year, when Triumph of St. Catherine wasn't on Moto and then it won Eternal Weekend.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many people who are playing Eternal Weekend this year are going to have any practice against pre-war formal wear and Death and Taxes. Because, like, D&T had a really good showing this weekend at various events, from what I understand. Anyways, after I in the finals, my opponent was local player Jay Wojciechowski, notably first place and second place the last 2 Eternal Weekends. Not in that order, but... and I play with him every week, and the fact that we were in the finals was pretty cool. He was already qualified for the DMV Legacy League Championship, so he scooped me in the finals. We did a little handshake photo. That's all to say that the people playing Legacy at my shop, maybe the best in the world, possibly, who's to say? Iron breeds iron. Come out for Legacy Night, Thursdays at 7 o'clock, $10 entry, no proxy. Let's go.
That can't possibly... I just want to... That's all amazing. That is not the saying, right?
What?
Iron breeds iron.
That's the first time hearing of it, so I'll give it a thumbs up.
Iron sharpens iron. Right? I'm either learning something new. Well, in fact, we're all learning something
Iron doesn't
new.
sharpen iron. Iron hones iron.
What is the difference between honing
So
and
iron sharpens iron is like the phrase from the Bible. But also, like, I don't know, iron breeds iron. Maybe iron's submissive and breedable. Who's to say?
We've got a
Iron
rich
is
history.
submissive
We have a
and
rich history of idioms on this podcast. That's why I wanted to bring this up. This goes into a long line.
Can
of
we talk
incredible
about how
Brainstorm
we don't
Brewery
know
idioms.
for sure if Cinderella wore glass slippers or fur slippers, because the translation from French to English is it's possible. There's one letter difference, so it's possible it was supposed to be fur slippers. Can we talk about how we have to live in that reality, but also it's like we have to literally interpret the Bible that was translated from fucking Aramaic into ancient Greek into Roman into fucking...
I have to concede the point on this to Corbin, actually. Iron breeds iron. When I searched it on Twitter to see if it was commonly used, the top result, the caption is Giratina origin form is low-key breedable, and it's a picture of a Pokemon that's very muscular with a large... So,
Well, that makes sense in this show, too.
that is to say, I was wrong, and the person I got it from, Ben Holt, is also wrong.
My wife says it like... It sounded like Garantina. The first time she told me the name of the Pokemon, she's like, "Oh, I caught a Garantina." I was like, "That sounds like the name of a slutty chick named Tina in high school."
You thought it was like a casino
I got a date with
Pokemon?
Garantina, baby. It is guaranteed.
Wow, Jason, just mine stuck in the, 1970s nicknames, man.
Jason, can I get an all right?
All right. Hey, I keep getting older, and so does Garantina, man. All right. She's the same age as me. Wait, why is that good, man?
Why is
She's
your
like
mustache
30.
growing as you're talking?
Well, welcome into the show, everybody. We're clearly off and running. What is the general state of Legacy, though, after the grief ban, Cass? After, from your impression,
Can
we
you
talked
repeat
about
the
death and
question?
taxes. Yeah, well, where's Legacy at post grief now?
It still seems like Blue-Black Reanimator is a tier 1 deck. A lot of the best players are just playing at minus grief plus more actual action. Psychic Frog's still very good. The
What
deck
are
feels
you
like it is
reanimating?
Atraxa, Archon of Cruelty, Troll of Khazad Doom.
Sick.
Yeah.
Troll's the fun one.
Some
The
good options.
troll is hilarious.
I saw
Troll
a
lets you
triple
just play a
block
really
on
low
Troll.
land count while also just having extra reanimation targets. It's really cool.
I saw
actually
somebody.
played against.
Go ahead.
I played against a player in round 1 of... I played a second event on Sunday where I played my pet deck Cradle Control and did not win hardly any matches. But my round 1 opponent on Sunday, his deck had Shallow Grave in it specifically to beat, exile your graveyard or Endurance, because he could have a Psychic Frog in play, cast Shallow Grave, exile your graveyard, you discard a new creature, and Shallow Grave doesn't target, it puts the top creature from
It
your
puts the
graveyard into
top
play.
creature, yeah.
But it's also an
that's
instant, so
funny.
in response to an Endurance, you can also Shallow Grave and Atraxa, and do
And it's
was
only
on
2
some tech.
mana too.
Yep.
I love Shallow Grave.
Yeah. I saw a game
Honestly,
where
what's
a player.
what's the other one that would work?
Goryo's, but
no, Goryo's Vengeance.
Goryo's
yeah.
doesn't work. It's only legendary, so it can't get back Archon.
Oh,
but
can't
you could
get-
play Corpse Dance, which is 3 mana and has buyback. Although I don't know
From
why you would do that.
Tempest.
Yeah.
Corpse Dance is on the reserve list, isn't it?
So is Shallow Grave.
Yeah.
I was
But I
thinking-
think everybody already knew Shallow Grave was like $25.
No, Shallow Grave is way more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw a player reanimate an
Sick.
opponent's Troll of Khazad-dûm, and then it get triple blocked. The things you don't necessarily expect to see in Legacy, but did in fact come up. It was pretty fun.
Well, so my opponent, we got into combat. He put some damage on my White of the Reliquary, and then reanimated my Endurance to nuke my graveyard to kill my White of the Reliquary.
Oh man, I love that.
That dude was he. I think he ended up top 8. I don't think he won, but he top 8'd, and he's a local player who's like really into playing Reanimator and like knows all the lines. And it's really cool to see someone who has like mastery over a very specific deck.
You know what else I like about Legacy? I watched a Reanimator player get on by a kid with that foiled sliver precon. You remember that? They did that premium sliver deck.
When was this? Like 2010? This match you're talking about happened?
I witnessed a miracle. That's why it's the best format.
Legacy truly is, I think, the perfect format in Magic. Even when it was bad with Grief around, like it was still the best.
The guy lost because he had a Platinum Imperium and he couldn't pay the alternate cost on Force of Will. He couldn't pay a life because he had Platinum Imperium, so he couldn't Force of Will the Sliver Kid's like whatever Sliver spell, and he just like.
I got somebody.
And
I got somebody in
was
Cube
amazing.
a couple weeks ago with their Platinum Imperion. They needed another mana and they couldn't fetch.
ooh,
Love that little quirk.
One more note on Psychic Frog. I had a really cool game against Cephalid Breakfast where it involved me drawing half my deck with Tamiyo Inquisitive Scholar's Flipped Side Ultimate. And then playing a Psychic Frog, discarding every instant and sorcery that I drew, exiling all of them to Psychic Frog, give it flying, to grow my Murktide to an 18/18 to attack. It got chump blocked by a Narcomoeba. I had to use 2 Force of Wills that I still had left over in hand to fight over my opponent's combo, which drew me 6 cards because I had 2 Up the Beanstalks in play, and I won the game with 1 card left in library after all of it.
Wow. It's a very legacy story.
rocks.
Yeah, it's a very legacy story. Enjoy it. I'll tell you something. I
just
didn't-
want to play Knight and White. Is there a Knight and White, or I guess Knight and or White deck? That's good.
Both events I
Besides
played
Credo
this
Control.
weekend. Both events I played this weekend, the same player, his name is Harry something, top-aided both with an Abzan Maverick deck that played Knight, White, and Fiend Artisan.
Fiend Artisan, I love it. Like in the Cradle deck, nice.
Yeah.
Modern, on the other hand, I don't know if you all saw the tweet going around that was, hey, take a look at my Mardu Energy deck. I've taken out all the cards that didn't enter through Standard. And I think there were 5 non-land cards in the main deck that entered through Standard. And they were like Thoughtseize.
It was 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Fatal Push, exactly, I think,
There you
right?
go. 6 cards. Yep. 4
And the only
Thoughtseize, 2
energy
Fatal
card,
Push.
the only actual energy card in the deck was the 1 Aether Hub.
So what was the rest of the energy shit from Fallout?
MH3.
From
Modern
MH3.
Horizons 3.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
Block constructed.
It's a good set. I like opening packs of it.
I played against a Legacy deck that was basically just... Modern Mardu Energy plus Cabal Therapy and Dual Lands.
Remember, this might have been Modern Horizons 1. Remember when they previewed Cabal Therapist? Like that was going to be a good card. And they thought that was going to be the future of Mod. I remember they previewed, they're like, wow, it's Cabal Therapy. Because Cabal Therapy was a card you could play in Legacy that everyone
that
knew.
card has-
Like, just wow.
I think that card has multiple Pro Tour top 8s.
Cabal Therapist.
You heard
What
a
was the
Lion's Eye
Hogak
Diamond.
PT?
Well, get ready for Diamond Lion.
I am not aware of Cabal Therapist being in a PT
Corbin,
top 8. But...
What was the Hogak PT? Was that PT Phoenix?
No, that was Pro Tour Barcelona in 2019.
I believe there were several 2 copies maybe in the sideboard of Mythic Championship for the Hogak players. Looking.
Within the depths of the Hogak, maybe. Maybe.
I
I don't.
wrong. It wasn't in the PT list. It was in the GP list from like the week before.
Sure.
The PT list played Rotting Regisaur instead.
Certainly not the all-star face of the set. I think they envisioned when they previewed it first thing first, like to
But
get
it
you
was
excited
emblematic
about
of
the
the set.
concept. It's true. That is true. That's true.
New spins on old cards.
Yeah, and that was in fact I think we've talked about this before, but like that's what Modern Horizons 1 did, and it worked. Modern Horizons 2 said we're going to address some of the gameplay issues, and it worked. Modern Horizons 3 said we're going to rotate the format, and it worked. Just turns out that of the two of those three, maybe people didn't enjoy the third one.
You know, one of our cast members, from what I understand, has protection from hate crimes and was in Tampa. DJ, were you targeted, enchanted, equipped, or blocked by any hate crimes while you were in Tampa?
Do you count the sun as a hate crime?
Buddy, I hate it.
We're about to, as a species. Yeah.
Did anything interesting happen while you were in America's butthole?
I had the unique experience of being the person to get the weird card buys, which I really enjoy.
What does that mean?
I saw a very damaged foil World Wake Jace the Mind Sculptor that I paid $20 on.
Nice.
How?
I said the word foil, by the way. World Wake foil.
I had to work that through. How damaged
Was it microwaved?
was it?
It kind of looked microwaved. The face of the foil was very wavy and ripply. And I don't know what happened to that card over the past 15 years. Yes, World Wake was 15 years ago. But I put the card on the buy mat and said, this is the number for that. And they said, yep, that sounds about right. So the expectation was set. I saw a heavily played, damaged 30th anniversary Mox Ruby.
Nice.
I don't know how that happens either. This was another card where I said, I can either put this back in your binder or I can give you a bad number on it. And they said, give me the bad number. And I said, $200. And they said, okay.
No one wants to own that.
Not bad.
Yeah. And the 30th anniversary stuff, again, I know it's a toxic product that the community doesn't like.
People have already forgotten about it.
Sure. It was many years ago at this point. The dual lands do still sell and trade very well.
Yeah.
Because they're dual lands.
Because they're dual lands and
like
cubes and shit like that. Yeah, why would?
Can I save $100 on a Tundra? Yes. Okay. Fine.
Which is kind of wild when you think about it. It's like I'm buying a sanctioned proxy for almost the real price.
I mean, they are
buying gold
pieces
border
of
cards
paper
for years,
with
man.
With abstract value stored in them, the same way that a revised Tundra is. Like,
And
if your
people
goal is
have been buying gold cards for years.
Yeah, like
I saw on
it's a
Reddit
gold
that
border card.
somebody sent somebody a fake 30th anniversary duel.
Those do exist, and
the problem with
it's
fake
like
30th
you
cards is no one's
faked
seen enough of them to know that it's fake.
Yeah, it's harder to detect, and
I was just gonna say that
that's why it's such a toxic product.
It's easier to tell if you have one to compare it to, but most people don't have a real one to compare it to.
Yep.
Right. I know that at Eternal Weekend last year there was a set of fake power going around the room that multiple vendors were like, this looks legit to me, and then it wasn't until it was compared to real stuff that anybody was like, this is wrong.
Overall, Tampa was a little bit better than expected. The bar was low, but it was passed. It was also a big Flesh and Blood world premiere for their new set, so most of the people in the room were there for Flesh and Blood, but it did feel, I don't know if nostalgic is the right word I would use, but reminiscent to have a room full of people.
Sure.
Compared to the last...
Can't get that with Magic.
Yeah, compared to the last 3 or 4 events I have worked that have been devoid of human beings in the room for the most part. I have pretty high expectations of DC and Vegas being the 2 coastal events of the year, so to speak, to go to. And I can only cross my fingers and hope that the organizing parties of Star City Games and Reed Pop can live up to those expectations. So we will see.
Yeah,
it's weird how it feels like we were having 2,500 person main events all the time when it was free to get in, and now that it's hundreds of dollars.
That's not it. That is not it.
That's like not even close to the problem, Jason.
On what? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the fact that like they're charging so much to get into these events, like
to Magic
people don't
Cons?
go to just hang out anymore.
The Magic Cons do just like sell out. You realize that, right?
Yeah, they sell out almost all of them.
And the SCG cons like are free to enter, and they have dog attendance. Sorry, SCG.
All right, so what's the deal then?
As far as attendance,
SCG just doesn't market as much as they used to. They fired all their writers. Like SCG used to have a stranglehold on the Magic. Like you go on Twitter, and every single person was talking about Magic was an SCG writer. They paid
Yeah.
Chapin some insane amount of money just to like write on their website.
Yeah, Magic content. I mean, obviously we've talked a lot about this over the years, but Magic content's not centralized. It
And now
doesn't
the
matter.
Commander-
it's not as timely.
Well, you know
because
what's
of
the biggest
Commander,
format?
etc.
They had Sheldon and Benny Smith writing for them, and no one took them seriously as a Commander site, and they didn't EDH Rec or any of the Commander community practically at all. It just really felt weird to me. They kind of like, well, we got Belden, Benny and Sheldon, so Belden. That's a good portmanteau. The team of Belden, they had those guys, and I guess they were sort of like, so we did it. I don't know. It felt like they didn't give a about the format, so
They did though, because they had the Versus series, which was way more popular.
Right.
There were so many more
Right.
like Stephen Green is going to events and signing way more things being on video than somebody who is writing an article, which is just
Correct.
for sure,
Right.
yeah.
I
SCG
think that,
was
like-
pretty deep.
I'm talking about how. I guess
Magic content
the Versus
is
series,
dead.
that's a completely different thing. Man, I don't know what the
SCG
fuck
was
I'm
slow to
talking about.
pivot. SCG
Yeah.
was slow to pivot to
That
like the
is how it
Commander
felt.
ecosystem partially because their insane level of marketing subsidized them still running competitive events in a way that they thought mattered. And I think that like the numbers started catching up with them in a pretty big way in like 2018, 2019, especially in 2020.
Yeah, and so here's the thing though. While we're on the topic, SCG laid off all their Commander writers this week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
In addition to having picked up the RCs for next year, right? In addition to running these new, what are the new Magic Spotlight
Showcase.
weekends?
Spotlight.
Magic Spotlight weekends. I mean, for all we're talking about here, are you talking like, does that look the kind of, one might look at that and read a pivot to competitive play is back on the menu if you're SCG's
And that's what I was talking
This-
about, like Versus series aside.
JJ, make sure after hours that. So we don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but maybe it's worse. Maybe there's no good news, not even a silver lining, and it's just they're cutting writers to save money. I don't know, but I do think that in general, Commander is riding strong, clearly. But look at how much grassroots excitement there's been for CEDH, and we're clearly not even going to touch all of the bullshit around CEDH right now. But we've talked about the grassroots of people wanting to play it, and in my opinion, the reason that is because people want to play meaningful Magic. Competitive is a word you can use or not use, but I think the word is meaningful. And it turns out they want to do that in the way that they learned to play Magic, or the way that they most commonly play Magic, which is, in fact, Commander. But that leads them to CEDH. Now, that's not a far cry from getting more people into Modern, or Pioneer, or God forbid Standard, right? Like, these things are all degrees, but maybe there's a possibility there, because at some point people who have played Commander now for 2, 3, 4, 5 years might want to do something else occasionally. Like, they might want to go play meaningful Magic, because that has been a drive for people for 30 years.
Well, there's
I will
definitely a market
say-
for it. I'm glad someone's doing it.
Yeah, and I will say, I know there's been some debacle around the Urza Saga promos, but
Yeah.
my competitive players in my store, who by and large only talk about Pioneer and Modern when RCQ season's happening, and we talked about Standard when it was RCQ season, but like all of them are building Standard decks. They're like getting excited about playing Vine Lasher Analyst combo, or like mono white tokens.
Cards have gone up in price.
Yes, like it's
Lots
it's
of
good
Standard
for
cards
the
have gone way up.
stores. It's good for the players. Magic's kind of thriving in a way that I wouldn't have expected it to. We're also kind of seeing a little bit of a reserve list bump.
That's that's not something I've looked at all, because look, I've talked a lot about sort of the doom of holding Magic cards, and for the most part that's true. But I got to say, watching Standard rotation come and go and covering it every week on TCG Player, the price movements, there are a lot of cards that have gone from 50 cents, $1, $1.50 in Standard to $4 or $5, like actual opportunities to make money that by and large, we're as guilty as anyone of ignoring over years. And now we've been years since we've had a Standard rotation, but it just is what it is. It's something to note that last week it wasn't a bunch of Commander cards gone up in price. It was a bunch of Standard cards.
And speaking of Standard cards going up in price, my Breaking Bulk this week is a Standard card.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
That's an acceptable transition.
Thank you. I get that a lot.
Acceptable.
My breaking bulk this week is a Outlaws of Thunder Junction Gold Rare.
Laughing Jasper Flint.
I figured Corbin was going to get it based on the way we were talking about it. It is Laughing Jasper Flint. That card is almost $5 now.
Yeah, it is.
That card was a bulk rare previously. It is one of the most powerful cards in the new Red-Black Lizards deck. The Lizards deck is
Finally,
all cheap
somebody
cards
read
except
that
for...
card.
It's all cheap except for Laughing Jasper Flint, Iridescent Vine Lasher, and Cavern of Souls. The rest of the deck is like bulk rares and commons and uncommons. It's awesome.
I've been playing the blue-white artifacts deck that is similarly full of...
Yep.
I'm playing like Spyglass Sirens and stuff. It's very fun.
I have Aftermath Analyst, Jund Aftermath combo here on my deck, like World Souls Rage.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We're having fun is what we're doing.
Yeah,
And this Service Animus is like $35-$40 again.
Meanwhile, EDH is completely cooked as a way to make money anymore because it's just like everything that was worth $1 is going to get reprinted 4 times, and there's going to be 50 legendary creatures every 2 months. Like, EDH has not felt like a good place to try to speculate for a couple of years now, and I stopped writing the article series, frankly.
Here's the thing. A couple years ago, I went on Etsy and purchased a spell from a witch to curse my enemies, and my enemy was the commander format, and I think it worked finally.
Oh, yeah. Take that. Way to save magic, you pieces of... I'm getting real sick of wizards focusing on the only people in this community that spend any money. Sure, I haven't spent a single dollar on magic except for tournament entry fees since I bought my 4 Orcish Bowmasters, but I'm sick of them catering to EDH just because they spend $900 every 2 months. Those pieces of...
Anyway, the point
ontologically evil.
Jason. Yeah, Jason, what do you got? What do you got this week?
What do I got? I got a red new Capenna common is what I got.
Striker Rich?
No.
Thrill, or no, it's got a lady diving in money.
It does not.
Fuck. Is this Goldhound?
This depicts
Is it
me and Corbin.
Is it 2 and a red? Is it 2 and 2 red? Discard 2 cards, make 2 treasures, draw 2 cards.
It's not. It's not make a treasure discard with set mechanic.
Is it the 3/2? The whenever with Alliance deal 1 damage?
Witty Roastmaster.
Yeah.
These
that card's
are
nice
bulk.
with it.
This is a very good card, and it is featured in the Jolly Balloon Man deck. It's gonna do a lot of work in that deck.
Took me like a full 3 seconds to remember that was a Magic card name and you weren't making like a double entendre or something.
Well, what's funny, this is actually kind of reminiscent of my pick of the week also. It's going to be very similar to this card, and they are both very good for the same reason. So get those Witty Roastmasters out of your bulk. You're going to make a big mistake. This is a breaking bulk of the week because these are worth like up to $1 now, but like they'll be worth more later too.
Sure.
And a dude's getting literally and figuratively roasted by a devil on the art. I think that's because the guy was heckling and the guy's spraying him with flames for heckling, and as a comedian that really appeals to me. So it's one of
you
my
should be
favorites.
allowed to torch 1 audience member per show
at a Rakdos show, no less.
Yeah.
Like that dude knew what he was signing up for.
Yeah,
you don't sit in the front where they
I
hand
think
you
it was
a free
a
poncho without.
it was actually a Riveteers show, I believe, or no?
I was gonna say
Cabaretti.
Your city.
Cabaretti was Naya. Cabaretti's
Cabaretti
Naya.
was the party. Was the party squad?
Right.
You're mixing up your city-based planes.
All right.
Well, that's a real Rakdos vibe.
I'm going to take
is.
you to another plane that is not. It's an entire city inside a school. It's all just a school.
It's
at
not
least if I
Corbin, though.
understand it.
Arcavios is the plane.
Yeah, there's
Right.
a large
Like
open waste where the weird guys live.
Strixhaven is the
Right.
school. Strixhaven is the school. The school is not the plane.
DJ's
like-
right.
You stupid, dumb idiot.
Unless Strixhaven gets taken over by Duskmourn, and then it takes over the whole plane, and then the school is the plane.
Doesn't Strixhaven just mean Owl House?
No one knows.
It
The
means
point
Owl
is,
Land, I think.
this is a gold uncommon from
dumb.
Strixhaven that's worth money.
Gold?
Is it on the Mystical Archive set?
No.
Strixhaven. Is it the? You said uncommon?
Yes. It's worth $2.
Dino?
I should know this.
No.
Is it Witherbloom Apprentice or the one that combos with Chain of Smog?
Nope.
Oh, Witherbloom Apprentice is a good guess. You said it's black uncommon?
No, I just
Gold.
said it's gold.
Is it gold or is it 2 colors?
It's 2 colors.
Is it the red-white enchantment?
black white?
It's what? Not white at all?
Black
It's
white.
black-white. I feel like I should know this. I played a ton of limited of this set.
It's a more recent spike, but it was worth $1 even before the spike.
The black one. Is it the fog?
You're gonna
Nope.
No.
you're gonna say the name of this card, and I'm gonna like fully die. I'm gonna be so mad at myself.
Winner.
Is it the aura, like the 5-man aura? Okay. I yield.
Everyone yields. DJ's got to consult the Roku. The answer is Fracture.
Oh,
Fracture!
Right.
Okay. Well played.
Black
well
white.
played.
Oh,
Black,
I
white
forgot
instant,
that was in
destroy
there.
target.
That's like a better unmake, basically.
Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. There's also a promo pack version of it that's slightly different. That's, for what it's worth, probably because of SEO reasons, about the same price, if not a little cheaper. Meanwhile, the market price on the regular one is spiked up to $4. I just looked. You can get them for about $225,
Sick.
$250 on TCG.
Sure.
Yeah.
DJ,
I will
what are you
give the
looking at?
I
devil
got a
his
bunch
due
of those
today.
in my bulk. Unfortunately, all my bulks and DJ's Roku.
I have an Urza's Legacy red uncommon. That is the depth of information I will give.
Urza's
Avalanche
Legacy.
Riders?
No.
Is it the No, the Viashino was the uncommon one was in Saga.
Corbin's
Is it
Is
looking
it
up what
Goblin?
Urza's
Is it
Legacy sets in.
the
Is
Last
it the
Ditch Effort?
Goblin?
It is Last Ditch Effort. Good job.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at you go.
It's like it's like Goblin Bombardment if it was a spell. It's weird.
Yes, it is 1 instant, sacrifice X creatures, it deals X damage to target creature or player. Perfectly fine for a budget goblin deck to just sort of, end the game on the spot. It also synergies nicely with other things that have been printed lately, like, there's a red creature in the newest set that's whenever you sack a thing, do a thing, and then Mayhem Devil, and then there's a lot of whenever you sacrifice nowadays, not even just when a creature dies, it's when you sacrifice, so...
Right.
Last
Man
Ditch Effort-
Devil's like the gold standard for that.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you have it. Break that bulk, courtesy, as always, of MTGstocks.com, the best place on the internet for all of your Magic financial information. You can go check out all the free information there, which there is a lot. And if you want, you can check out the premium side of the website. It allows you to set up custom interests, custom tracking sheets, lists. You can see monthly interests, which is one of my favorite things, and a lot of other really neat tools that help you get an edge based on a lot of stuff we talk about on this show. So shout out to MTG Stocks. As always, you should go support them. On to the current set in Magic, because hey, it's been 2 weeks since the last one, so now we're balls deep in the spoiler.
Bones Wild Ride.
Yeah, well, here we go. It's time. That would fit in this plane of Duskmourn, House of Horror, where we're going next. Set comes out in 3 weeks. 2.5 weeks, really.
Hey, did you like the movie Saw or Halloween?
I did.
Well, this set is nothing like that, except there's a card called Chainsaw. We did it.
Hey, this set's cool, Jason. You hate this set. I think it's fun.
No, I wanted to like this set, and I was disappointed because
I can empathize with Jason for sure. Like, he is a curmudgeon and hates things that are popular and all of these things, but he can also be right about this.
If you're gonna pander.
What is exactly your complaint, Jason?
I don't know. I don't like it.
Well,
Okay.
I would argue that a lot of the air quotes references are too in your face and on the nose. And
Brother,
just
maybe you just don't know horror well enough. Like,
Yeah,
I'm really impressed with some of these.
It's Zoolander 2. I don't know how else to describe it other than this set is Zoolander 2.
I don't think every card's a slam dunk. I think there are some that super are. And I think that's true of any Magic set. I don't know, like, fucking Fear of Abduction. I'm fairly certain visually is like a Fire in the Sky reference. You even heard of that movie, Jason?
I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
Real horror heads know. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong.
I'm
Probably
not a
am
real
wrong.
horror head. I like movies. This doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie. It feels like I'm watching a fucking Netflix show about like Stranger Things. Like Stranger Things just kind of feels like somebody distilled your childhood and they're like dripping it into your eyeballs as a drug. And like, but it's so saccharine and like homogenized and nonsense. You took all. You know when you see something that's like a 90s bedroom, it's like, oh, here's the 90s bedroom, and it's like the Game Boy bed sheets and all that. But like, that's not what a 90s bedroom looked like. That's when you just throw a bunch of 90s at a wall. It's like an AI painting of a set, right?
I hear you. So Mark Rosewater, actually in the State of Design article we mentioned, we talked about this a few weeks ago, actually said that a lot of players found their design too on the nose with their tropes and so forth, and that's kind of what you're describing.
I don't know. Like, I'm having a hard time articulating why I don't. This is a Funko Pop.
So yeah, so like Jason is fear.
It's like Thunder Junction.
I wanted to like this. I didn't give a fuck about Thunder Junction. That was pretty cool.
But like Thunder Junction had a lot of the same complaints from players of you're just putting cowboy hats on everything, and this one is like you're just putting a scary mask.
You put a TV tuned to static on everything.
I guess what you're saying is that like, so this might be an example. There is a card literally named Fear of Missing Out, and sort of regardless of what it does, like it doesn't necessarily feel like you've entered the creepy plane of Duskmourn. It feels like somebody designed this pun and they put it in front of you because it's a pun.
It's an elbow in the rib cage is what it is.
I get some of that. I do get some of that. I mean, that is...
It also is part of a
hard
cycle.
line. It is a hard line between like difficult for them to between like what's a good reference on a thing versus whatever. And this is literally a plane where the fear of missing out would manifest itself as a nightmare, which it does. As like that is literally within the fear of the feel of the
it's
plane.
Also
but I do understand
a
like,
very red
like
thing.
the idea. Yeah, like but I get where you're coming from. Like there's chainsaw, you know. But I'll say that the room mechanic though, pretty cool, right?
The room mechanic.
I was very close to calling that, by the way. I was very close to it.
Yeah.
Oh, the unlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a home run.
Yes. It seems very fun. I'm very deep on
the
collector
thing
boxes,
is, like, as
so
much
I'm
as I don't
excited.
like the set, it won't matter because I'll get the same thing out of this set as I get out of every set, which is, you know, maybe a chance to buy a land that taps for 2 different colors of mana for under $1 before they go up, and like maybe one legendary creature I care about. Or that's what everybody gets out of every set. And we fall into this trap where we have to talk about everything, and it makes you feel like you're up if you don't care about everything. But like, this is just another thing I can't care about. And I don't know. I think it's fine, but I think if they're gonna give us 5 cards we care about 4 times a year, then don't print 900 million cards.
I think there's more cards than that, though, that people care about. We just got done talking about how Standard is in Renaissance.
Yeah.
And half this set will be played in Standard for 3 years.
Yeah.
Also, like...
I don't know about
Jason,
half the set. I think probably 10 cards.
Sure. I mean, sure. The land cycles are... Here's the thing, though. The land cycle is going to give you half of that, so like it is probably more than 10. But like,
I don't know.
Point taken is that
they're going to put out a set every month, and Standard's going to rotate every 10 years. Standard could.
Bro, you get
it's
still
great.
4. It's 4 sets. Yeah, it's 4 standard sets a year. Rotation once a year. It's just 3 years instead of 2 now. And there's
12
very
sets
wide
instead of
variety
8,
of decks. Yeah, up to
That's
12
a lot
instead of 8.
of sets. That's that at least.
It keeps your cards legal for longer.
I'm just saying, the 12 set standard last year, they got to play at the beginning of this year, rather, was pretty awesome.
They've been fun. It's been fun. Also, like, the theme of this set gives you the movie poster stuff, or the Nightmare Bundle, or whatever they're called, where you get the movie poster cards, which are pretty cool. Like, the theme of this set does lend itself to some good, secret lairs and universes beyond type stuff. I don't know. It seems to me like it's going to be a home run, but I'm inclined to root for it anyway. So. Cass, what do you think of the land cycle?
I think it's fine. I kind of hate that this exists, mostly because I think we're never going to get the full cycle of 20. Because this is a land cycle that theoretically has 20 cards in it, right?
Well, right now, they go to the right. So you could reverse it and go to the left.
Right, but I'm saying, like...
you could also then skip over. So, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You could continue to make pairs of this for a while.
And so, if let's say I'm someone at WotC, and my goal is to make a land cycle that we can expand on later, I understood the assignment. I'm like, we get to do 3 more sets up to with these. Like, boom, out of the park. As somebody who likes when there's matchies, aesthetic matchies, or I like when there's a full cycle, I still hate that there's only 6 Horizon lands. This makes me a little angry, but I think mechanically these are pretty cool. I do kind of like that. It's weird. Half of these, the primary color is the one that you want to be the primary color, and the other half it's not. It's weird. Like the Flood Farm Verge, you kind of would rather blue be on the front instead of white.
Right. Yeah, so you can get it on turn 1 or whatever.
The black-red one, you get to cast your discard spell on 1, and then if you have like a double red thing on 2, you can do that.
Yeah, I've also seen people talk about, for instance, like the red-green one, I think is what it would be, where a lot of, in Standard even, and even in Pioneer Modern, there's like rule decks that are really like mono-red decks with a couple green cards, and that is an actual place where competitively these could fit in. It seems pretty difficult to me for any land to break into Modern now that Modern has all the lands you can just fetch for. But this is a way to go non-fetch land mana base, perhaps, right? So it is a very interesting cycle. That's for sure.
It's also interesting that, like, in Standard, if you want to play, like, the Picnic Ruiner deck, let's say, right, with Thornspire Verge, you probably want to play 4 Core Plus in Forest, and you probably want to play 4 Copperline Gorge. How many actual mountains are in your deck? Is it, like, 8? Is that enough to make this land produce red, and then does that matter?
Yeah, and that's why I do think it's hard, because, it still leads you to wanting to be able to fetch. All lands typically lead to fetching for stopping. And that's...
It's weird there's 2 dual land cycles in this set, though.
Well, I like that there's...
Are you talking about the limited ones? Yeah, the limited ones, Jason? The 13
I love that
life.
Design on those, by the way.
The 13 life one, it's actually... Like, I don't know... I think perhaps, like, the red-green one might even be playable in, like, a really... Maybe red-black. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of, like... I don't even know what they're calling the decks like that.
The problem is you can't play it with Death Shadow because, again, you just want to fetch shock yourself with Death Shadow.
Yeah. I could almost see the ones that go in control decks being okay in Standard. Like, you're going to get attacked.
Because you're the one getting hit down early, and then you're...
Yeah.
And if you're not getting hit down early, like, you're fine to play a tap land.
You're fine playing a tap land in blue-white, yeah.
Might be cool.
Could be fun.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, we of course want to leave you all with some picks of the week.
Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
And that
Can I go
is
first?
Where we're going to start. Go ahead, Cass.
I have an absolute banger. I have a 15-year-old blue card with no reprints that was tweeted about today extensively by Andrea Mengucci.
2009?
I believe so, assuming
What
DJ was
sets
right about
came
Jace
out?
the Mind Sculptor. It's a world weight card. I know it's not a guessing game, but I'm doing a little...
Selective Memory?
Selective Memory.
Selective memory.
Mengucci called it the Doomsday of Modern today and posted a deck list that plays no lands, 20 MDFCs, 4 Disrupting Shoal, 4 Force of Negation, 3 Subtleties, Goblin Charbelcher, Selective Memory, Thassa's Oracle, Jace Wielder of Mysteries, and said, this deck's kind of cool. Like, he just like has been promoting it. That card is $1.
That is Doomsday.
The card has no reprints. It's also Belcher. That's the thing. It's two great tastes that taste great
yeah.
together. How expensive does that card get if that deck is good?
Back in my day, we had to play
$20?
that blue Tempest piece of shit that pulled all the lands out of your deck.
So we can use other examples here to give us a little bit of a litmus test. Worldwake is 3 years away from Cold Snap. Look at Soul Spike.
Yep. Selected Memory is $1 right now. That card does something that is not okay in theory. And like this is a proof of concept that Menguchi posted, right? This is the kind of card where I want to just own 1,000 of them because there's no such thing as bad specs. There's just specs that take longer to mature.
This is the own a 5-row of Death Shadow and Stoneforge Mystic in 2009.
Right.
Classic
like,
2.
Who the hell is gonna? Who at WotC is gonna be like, let's put Selective Memory in a Master set? No one plays with this card.
They will reprint it when it's too late, but then it'll be
exactly.
too late.
Yeah.
Well, they'll reprint it when it has equity for them to reprint. When the card is worth something and they can get sales value out of it or whatever.
But
and
when
that
it's
just
too
means,
late for our listeners is what I mean.
Right. Our listeners should be buying them at $1.
Yep.
Our listeners should be winning.
Yeah.
And
They
you know,
have,
you can take some of your Selective
here's-
Memory winnings. And subscribe to our
Wait.
Patreon.
I have the ultimate pick for this. I have a laptop case that I bought from a Wizards employee that was never released to the public.
Oh shit!
Wow. There you go.
That has the artwork of Selective Memory on it.
Fancy.
My pick of the week
stuff.
is that.
That's a nice one. All right, before I get out of here, I got to drop this one in on you all. Swarmyard Massacre Full Art. This is a Commander Bloomborough card. And what it does is it makes squirrels. Everyone likes making squirrels, but then it also wraths away non-squirrels. Extremely
Everybody wants
powerful.
to kill all the non-squirrel. Wait.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is that the regular version of the card has been going up. In fact, the market price is up to $7 or $8. You can actually get it for $4 or $5 on TCG Player. However, the extended art version is still available in the $3 to $4 price range, and there's no reason it shouldn't be more than the regular version, except for SEO purposes, and that seems like a good opportunity to get in on sub $4 extended art Swarmyard Massacres, because 3 years from now, when they do squirrels again, all of these cards are going to pop.
Yep.
After
And now
DJ
that
does.
Corbin's gone, I'll do my pick of the week.
Oh yeah.
It's basically a double Woody Roastmaster. Agate Instigator is a card with Offspring from the new Bloomborough junk, and whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it is a, like one of those Perforos type of effects, but it is a lizard that makes another lizard, so you can get 2 triggers. So with Witty Roastmaster out, that's 3 triggers. So then basically everything's all Perforosy, and you can just kill somebody with Prosh or Xyrus or, I don't know, Norin the Wary. There's no wrong way to kill everybody with a bunch of creatures that trigger when a creature ETBs.
Yeah.
I love Offspring as a mechanic.
It's cool.
It is
It makes
so
your creatures, especially on utility creatures, that what normally I would want to play like an enchantment in that spot.
Because they've done Bob with set mechanic forever. The Bloomborough one is fascinating.
Yes. I got to play a game of Limited with it, actually, where I think it was Ryan Overture who tweeted about this, how the most interesting moment with Dark Confidant is, do I play the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just put that on a card. Like, some of the best memories I have in Magic when I just, like, play the second Bob and Jun because I have to. My opponent can't attack because then I'll block.
Yeah.
And I have to flip 2 lands or I die, but if I don't flip 2 lands, I win. And, like, that sweat is what Magic's about.
We had a safety valve. When they first gave us Bob, we had Umezawa's Jite, so you could play that first Bob, knowing that it's like, no, I may just have to kill my Bob.
Right.
I don't remember. That card was so f***ing busted, though. I was playing a burn deck in Standard, and people were playing Bob,
Yep.
and just, like, flipping up, like, Ghost Ad and taking 5. And I'm like, I'm not going to kill your Bob. He's the best guy on my team. And he's like, I don't know. Drawing cards is pretty good. And just kept fucking taking 5 off shit and just...
I distinctly remember playing Dark Confidant and Greater Gargadon in the same deck because you can stack the Bob to the Greater Gargadon, obviously.
Obviously.
If you're in
Greater
trouble, you just
Gargadon
sacrifice
is
it.
one of the... That represented them entering a new design space in a way it's... I don't know. That Gargadon, to me, was the perfect encapsulation of the payoff between the taking the time counters off. You know, so you can
Sight is
you
just
can
a
pick
masterpiece in
exactly.
general.
You can determine exactly when it comes in. It's basically plot, right?
Yeah, it's also it's a sack outlet they can't interact with, which I think is one of the cooler things for it. It saw play in like the Cascade balance decks.
I was gonna
Remember
say
those?
restore balance. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gargadon
what a
is such
fantastic.
an all-timer, Hall of Fame card.
Yeah, because it did so much for things they didn't anticipate when they clearly made a weird card.
Yep.
That was peak Magic design. But I love Agate Instigator.
Same. I love
By
Offspring.
Zen.
Agate Instigator has been, I think, since day one of the stronger cards in Bloomburrow Commander, so good call.
Their drummer's an anti-vaxxer, though, so that sucks.
Was that like a Linkin Park joke?
No, the Offspring.
Oh, the Offspring.
No, the Linkin Park thing is their new lead
No,
singer
I
is a
know.
Scientologist.
I know.
Which is not
I haven't
great.
thought about the Offspring in years.
Yeah, they had like a whole. They like were like, we're not going to tour because of COVID. The drummer's like, we could probably tour because of COVID. And then Dexter's like, I'm working on my PhD in microbiology. Shut the up.
That kinda
I
rocks.
specifically worked with RNA vaccines. So like the guy from The Offspring knew more than 99.999% of scientists about the COVID vaccine. He didn't know more than 99% of Americans. He knew more than 99% of the scientists. He's like, oh yeah, I know about this RNA vaccine. I don't know. It's really funny.
Speaking of RNA, this is somehow on topic.
Somehow.
So I had COVID last week, and I can't take Paxlovid because of medication interactions, so I got this new shit, Lagavrio. Not covered by insurance, not cheap. But I was testing negative within 3 days of starting it.
Ooh.
Symptomless in 72 hours. It's the shit they give Joe Biden. It's literally what it does is it makes like fake RNA for the virus to latch onto to try and like take it over and
makes
duplicate.
decoy RNA?
It honeypots the virus, and the virus
Oh
just
my
dies.
God.
And apparently it's based on an old drug that we thought might work for HIV. And
Yeah.
our discoveries of the RNA let us make it into an actual COVID antiviral. And now they're like, we might actually just have a cure for HIV with this technology. Which is to say that
they might
science
actually
rules.
just have a cure for all retroviruses.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Including resistant strains of like HIV, potentially.
Sick.
Science rules.
My pick of the week is Shallow Grave. It is close to or at its peak from 2021 during all of the other crazy COVID era spikes, and I think there is still room to do that again. This is not one that I would recommend going and buying out a ton of, but if you are the person that needs your playset, or you need one for your cube, or just a commander deck that happens to do funny interactions with being able to tell your opponent, actually, my graveyard order matters, then slam dunk. This is a card that you can get damaged or heavily played pretty frequently for less than the TCG market price. And again, it is reserve list. The reserve list have cooled down a lot after 2021, and there are noticeable supply issues for a lot of these very playable reserve list cards. I wouldn't go out and buy out Catacomb Dragon, but the playable ones like Replenish, like this, like Earthcraft, I think these are all worth looking into.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for a very special episode of Brainstorm Brewery. I have been your host, your only host, and nothing but the host, Cass Lynn. DJ, Jason, let's
It's
send
good to
the
have a
people
Corbin
off.
this podcast
What?
again.
What do you
Yeah,
want
let's
from
send
me?
let's send the people off in the way that we always do on Brainstorm Brewery with a big old fuck Corbin. Can I get a fuck Corbin?
1.
It doesn't have to be simultaneous. Just say fuck Corbin.
Oh, I thought
Very
we were
cast kill DJ.
Thank you. Oh my god, that's so sweet. Bye.